Caribbean Cruise Trap. Going for an exciting Caribbean trip, but don't know if you are planning it the right way? First-time Caribbean visitors are usually overwhelmed by the videos and blogs covering the best hotels to stay, the best cruises to take, and best islands to visit. As much as you want to enjoy everything the Caribbean has to offer, always be cautious of the Caribbean cruise traps waiting for their next target. Stay with us and let us explore some of the most common Caribbean cruise traps. The Caribbean is surely one of the most famous cruise itineraries out there. Its magnificent shorelines, pristine beaches, and quaint turquoise waters make it an ideal getaway. But nothing is more exciting than traversing the waters surrounding the Bahamas and the entire Caribbean archipelago on a cruise ship. However, there are a few things you might want to be aware of. Cruise traps are everywhere and must be known by frequent Caribbean cruisers and first-timers. Top Caribbean cruise traps to watch for. The Going Big Trap. Going big is still one of the biggest misconceptions about Caribbean cruises. What that means is, when traveling to the beautiful islands of the Caribbean, you will be more likely to go on a large resort ship without contemplating whether it is worth it or not. Some cruisers might want what is best out there, but do not be fooled by these. The very big cruise ships that frequent the Caribbean are Royal Caribbean, Carnival Dream, and Carnival Mardi Gras. Perhaps it might be tempting to go all in on your cruise ship with built-in mega cruising experiences in the Caribbean, such as the cruise line of Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, and the Carnival. Although it might look enticing to cruise on these large ships, it is actually a tourist trap. You don't have to cruise this way, even though these cruise lines have made the picturesque islands of the Caribbean popular. You can cruise however you want, but don't think you should only choose from one of the big cruise ships I have mentioned just a moment ago. To make your Caribbean visit worthwhile, check out what cruise ships match your style, such as where it is extremely formal, or Classic Cruise Line Celebrity, where it is more fashionable and casual. Holland America Cruise Line is good, though a little bit older than the others. And lastly, Oceania Marina, which can accommodate up to 1,250 passengers. Embarkation Trap. Another trap is called the embarkation trap. We all know that the Caribbean has been known for its vast waters, scenic beaches, and quaint islands. But how exactly do we get there? There are numerous ports in the United States and Europe that provide itineraries for Caribbean cruises. The closest port you can embark on from America to the Caribbean islands is in Florida, where several big ports await, such as Port Canaveral, Port Everglades, and Port Miami. However, ports in Florida have numerous terminals, so expect an embarkation hassle here, with over 10 to 20,000 passengers getting off the ship, and the same number applies to the passengers who are getting on those ships in just a day. These ports are considered to be completely chaotic because of how many people are swarming it at once, as well as the amount of vehicles such as taxis, Ubers, and buses who pick up and drop off passengers. It is just a nightmare for passengers who just want nothing more but to get pampered on the Caribbean. You may consider other ports that are less crowded than the ports in Florida, such as the Carnival Cruise Line, where you can embark on 12 different ports across the United States at various times of the year. Norwegian and Royal Caribbean offer this as well. The only downside to this option is that cruise companies usually provide older ships on the smaller ports across the United States. When you're coming from Europe and want to cruise in the Caribbean, you do not have to fly towards the United States. There are charter flights offered by the cruise companies that will fly you to Barbados, where you can start your cruise journey towards the Caribbean. If a luxury cruise is what you are yearning for, there are some cruise lines that originate from Barbados or St. Martin. It is worth taking note that you do not have to come to Florida to cruise in the Caribbean. It is a trap waiting for you to come. Other than the crowds and commute nightmares, hotels can also get really expensive during peak months. Places Trap. The other trap that you can fall into regards the places you visit in the Caribbean. Whether or not you are a frequent traveler to the Caribbean, it is important to plan ahead of time where you want to visit. Many frequent vacationers always take the same route and keep visiting the same places over and over again. However, the Caribbean has only a few ports that cruise ships can dock in because of their ship size and the passenger volume it carries. Whereas 4 big ships averages to about 15 to 20,000 passengers going in and out on the cruise ship docking area. With such a huge volume, nearby tourist destinations will surely be crowded. but it is possible to travel further away to visit unique and different places. This is where planning takes its part. A few pointers you need to take note of are the short cruises in the Bahamas, where 3 to 4 nights would suffice. The popular places you can visit in the western part of the Caribbean are Key West and Cayman Islands. For the eastern part, there are Puerto Rico, Antigua Dominicas, Kitts, and the quaint U.S. and British Virgin Islands. But you don't have to worry, as most cruise lines alternate between east and west of the Caribbean, where you can do a 14-day cruise. 7 nights will suffice on each island. When cruising in the Caribbean, bear in mind that ports are really crowded, so try and search for itineraries of where you might want to go if they are more out of the way and unusual destinations. Island Trap. The next on the list is the Island Trap. There are several private groups of islands you can visit during your cruise in the Caribbean, such as Half Moon Cay, which is located in the Bahamas. Other islands that you can visit are the Princess Cays and Disney's Castaway Cays. There are some features you can take advantage of when you book on these islands, such as the quaint blue waters and pristine white sand beaches. But since these islands are owned by the cruise companies, you are not experiencing the true vibe of the Caribbean, and also, the money you spend on these islands does not go directly into the hands of the locals, but to the companies instead. People argue that it seems like a trap. Others say it is not because it is a very organized experience. Timing Trap. The next on the list is the Timing Trap. There are times you need to avoid a certain cruise because of the timing. That is why researching an itinerary ahead of time and taking into account the possibilities of crowd surges on your vacation. If you are not familiar with the Caribbean season, it usually runs from September to October when cruise ships are redeployed from Alaska and the Mediterranean. December to April are the busiest months in the Caribbean, as this is during the winter season in the Northern Hemisphere. People want to get away from the cold and enjoy the great weather in the Caribbean. To avoid crowded holidays, time your vacation during the middle of December before holiday season and school holidays in mid-January to mid-February. These dates will provide you with a lot of availability on cruises, hotels, and excursions. You will also end up saving money from the cheap fares and hotel costs. It will also be so quiet, as it is not peak time. Just consider this like a private island vacation. What dates should you avoid? Avoid school holidays, spring break holidays, and Christmas break holidays. If you time these holidays in your itinerary, all in your plans will be thrown into turmoil. You should also avoid hurricane season, as it will cause disturbance to itineraries. Sides Trap. The other trap is called Sides Trap or Excursion Trap. There are several excursions that can be experienced when on a cruise. The expenses on each excursion vary from $100 or more and will leave a hole in your pocket if you are not aware of these traps. Most people are alright and will default to the cruise company's excursion offerings, where they get the advantage of not being left behind because the tour is part of their own cruise excursion. It might be great for first-time cruisers, but for advanced cruisers, it is more ideal to book private tours where you can enjoy more time in solitude or just with several other people. Individual private tours are great nowadays. Knowing when the cruise ship will leave means that these private tours guarantee to get you back to the ship on time. Other than what was mentioned, it is also important not to do the same excursions from your last cruise in the Caribbean. Explore as much as you can while here to make your holiday worthwhile. Spending Trap. Lastly, the Spending Trap. Shopping for souvenirs or other items is crucial when visiting key places around the world, especially the Caribbean. When shopping, the most important thing you should do is compare prices from other stalls. If you can, search the web about the current prices of things you want to buy, such as perfumes. If they are more expensive, just ignore those items. You are here to buy great items at a great deal, not great items at a rip-off price. It is also worth taking note that some shops are affiliated with the big cruise lines. Brief research should give you an idea about the products these shops are selling. So many people fall into this trap, such as Diamonds International, Effie, Del Sol color-changing products, and more. These are not available at only one port. Every port you visit will have these store chains. When buying souvenirs, it is important to check if the item is really made by the locals of the Caribbean. Some of the souvenirs might look like a local has made the item, but you'll see with great regret the Made in China label on the back of that product. Don't let the big companies manipulate you. Shop wisely on your way to the Caribbean. To conclude, cruising to the Caribbean is still enjoyable even without knowledge about Caribbean cruise traps. But not knowing about them can lead to a big hole in your pocket and landing you in some stressful situations. On the other hand, when you are equipped with proper knowledge about these traps, you will have the best stress-free vacation of your life while saving a lot of time and money. Remember to choose the cruise ship that you think will suit you. You do not need to come to Florida if you are coming from other parts of Europe or nearby countries to sail towards the Caribbean. Besides, Florida is already filled with cruisers that account for more than 30 to 40,000 daily in the large ports of Florida. Avoid visiting places you have already visited in the past. This will make your excursions quite boring, as you'll already know what to expect from these. Research well about the products and compare the prices from the stalls with prices on the internet. Usually prices outside tourist spots are cheaper. Always keep in mind these tourist traps when visiting the Caribbean. If you enjoyed watching and learned something, show your support by liking this video. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, now is the best time to click that subscribe button and the notification bell icon to notify you on new videos. Thank you guys, and I will see you on the next one.